The first session on stage today is a panel discussion, and this panel discussion is basically about an analysis of businesses that we run here. The good thing with this panel is that we have got experts who are talking about setting up businesses. We have got legal experts on the panel. We have got people from the banking and the financial sector. For this, I would like to now call upon the panelists on stage. The first person on the panel, ladies and gentlemen, we have the managing partner of Goodwins Law Corporation. For the last 28 years, he has been in the field, of which 23 years he has been in the UAE. He is one of the 12 global directors of the First Law International, a law firm of a law association of over 16,000 lawyers, and he's the second Indian in that position. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Advocate P.V. Shaheen on stage. Welcome again. Thank you. Have a seat. The second panelist today on the panel is a business consultant. For the last 8 years, he has been in Dubai, and he is the Chief Executive Officer of Emirates First. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Mr. Jamad Usman on stage. Welcome, thank you. And the third panelist, who comes from the banking and the financial industry, the Assistant Vice President of Head of Documentation with the Sharjah Islamic Bank. For the last 10 years, he has been in the banking industry, working across various financial institutions in the Middle East and in India. We would like to please welcome Mr. Nabeel Katakat. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Nabeel. Thank you, Nabeel. We would like to briefly start with the discussion, since all three of you come from different backgrounds, and your inputs are also equally important for us as people who want to set up businesses or probably are running small to medium enterprises. If I can start from Advocate Shaheen, how is the legal framework? How is the legal framework different from that of what we have back in Kerala and what we have globally in this part of the world?
Thank you. It's a very good question to start with. See, Kerala being in India, and India having been ruled by the British for such a long time, we have inherited from the British common law, the English law. Okay? Whereas UAE has inherited its legal system predominantly from the Egyptians, who were ruled by the French for a very long time. So there are two legal systems in the world. One is the British common law, the other one is the civil law system. So UAE is following the civil law system. Plus, it will always have a Sharia flavor to that. So systems are entirely different, and law is a jurisdictional discipline. Unlike medicine, engineering, banking, teaching, or any other field, laws differ from country to country. I could be a master of laws in India, but if I migrate to UAE, I'm a fresher. And I've gone through that grind. It was not an easy transition. It was a complete demolition and reconstruction that happened in 1996 when I migrated to UAE. So it's completely different. Whatever I was taught as right, many things could be wrong in UAE, many things what was wrong in India were right here, and the implications were also very different.
Okay. Mr. Jamad, if I can ask you, what is required? Now, you come from a business setup perspective. What are the things that an entrepreneur from Kerala should look at when he decides to set up a business in UAE?
Actually, I just, rather than speaking in English, I would like to speak in Malayalam, because almost 99% people are from Malayalam. I mean Kerala. So I really love to speak in Malayalam. So എനിക്ക് ഇവിടെ പറയാനുള്ളത്, കേരളത്തിൽ നിന്ന് ഒരുപാട് ആൾക്കാർ ദുബായിൽ വന്നിട്ട് വലിയ പ്രതീക്ഷകളും വലിയ ആഗ്രഹങ്ങളുമായിട്ട് എന്താ പറയുക ഫ്ലൈറ്റ് കയറി ഇവിടെ വന്ന് ഇവിടെ ബിസിനസ് സെറ്റപ്പ് ചെയ്യാനുള്ള ആഗ്രഹമായി വന്ന് ഇവിടെ നിന്ന് ഒരു 90% ആൾക്കാർ മാത്രമേ ഇവിടെ ബിസിനസ്സിൽ സക്സസ് ആവുന്ന ഒരു ഇത് കാണുന്നുള്ളൂ. ബാക്കി 10% അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഒരു 15% ആൾക്കാർ നാട്ടിലേക്ക് തിരിച്ചു പോകുന്നൊരു പ്രവണതയാണ് എനിക്കിവിടെ കാണാൻ പറ്റുന്നത്. അത് എന്തുകൊണ്ടെന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ അവർക്ക് കറക്റ്റായിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു ഗൈഡൻസിൻ്റെ ഒരു പ്രശ്നമാണ് ദുബായിൽ എന്നല്ല UAE. ഒന്ന് അവർ ചൂസ് ചെയ്യുന്ന ലൊക്കേഷൻ്റെ ഇഷ്യൂസ്, രണ്ടാമത്തത് അവർ ചൂസ് ചെയ്യുന്ന ഏരിയ, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ മൂന്നാമത്തതായിട്ട് പറയുകയാണെങ്കിൽ അവരുടെ സ്പോൺസർഷിപ്പ്, അവർ ചൂസ് ചെയ്യുന്ന സ്പോൺസർ ഇഷ്യൂ കൊണ്ട് അവർക്ക് ഉണ്ടാകുന്ന പ്രശ്നങ്ങൾ. പിന്നെ ഒരു വലിയൊരു എന്താ പറയുക ബിഗ് എമൗണ്ട് അവർക്ക് ഇനീഷ്യലി തന്നെ സ്പെൻഡ് ചെയ്യേണ്ട ഒരു പ്രശ്നങ്ങൾ, ഇങ്ങനത്തെ ഒരു സെർട്ടൺ കാര്യങ്ങൾ കൊണ്ട് അവരുടെ ബിസിനസ് നടത്തി പോകാൻ പറ്റാണ്ട് തിരിച്ചു പോകുന്ന ഒരു പ്രവണതയാണ്. അതുകൊണ്ട് തന്നെയാണ് ഇതിലൊരു വലിയ സ്പേസ് ഉണ്ടെന്ന് കണ്ടെത്തിയിട്ടാണ് ഞങ്ങൾ ഈ എമിറേറ്റ്സ് ഫസ്റ്റ് എന്നുള്ള സ്ഥാപനം ഇവിടെ തുടങ്ങാനും അതിൻ്റെ പിന്നിൽ അവർക്ക് വേണ്ടിയുള്ള എല്ലാ ഗൈഡൻസും കാര്യങ്ങളും കൊടുത്തു വരികയും ചെയ്യുന്നു. സോ ആർക്കെങ്കിലും ഏതെങ്കിലും തരത്തിൽ മീൻസ് ഇതിനെക്കുറിച്ചിട്ടുള്ള ഇൻഫർമേഷൻസ് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് വേണമെന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ഡെഫിനറ്റായിട്ട് നമ്മളെ കൗണ്ടർ ഇവിടെ ഉണ്ട്, നിങ്ങൾക്ക് കോൺടാക്ട് ചെയ്യാം. സോ ഞാനിപ്പോൾ ഇവിടെ പറഞ്ഞു വരുന്നത്, കേരളത്തിൽ നിന്നും ഇവിടെ വന്ന് ബിസിനസ് സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്ത് അവർക്ക് ഈ തുടങ്ങാൻ പറ്റാത്ത അല്ലെങ്കിൽ അവരൊരു ഫെയിലിയറിലൊക്കെ പോകുന്ന സമയത്ത് അവരുടെ ഗൈഡൻസ് നമ്മൾ കൊടുക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. സോ അതാണ് മീൻസ് ആ ഒരു കാര്യത്തിൽ നമ്മൾക്ക് എന്താ പറയുക കൂടുതലായിട്ടുള്ള ഗൈഡൻസും കാര്യങ്ങളും കൊടുക്കണം.
ഒരു സ്റ്റാർട്ടപ്പ് കിറ്റ്, ഇപ്പം ഒരു വ്യക്തി ഒരു ബിസിനസ് തുടങ്ങാൻ ആഗ്രഹിക്കുന്നുവെങ്കിൽ അദ്ദേഹത്തിൻ്റെ സ്റ്റാർട്ടപ്പ് കിറ്റ് എന്ന അർത്ഥത്തിൽ കേരളത്തിൽ നിന്ന് ഇങ്ങോട്ട് വരുമ്പോൾ എന്തൊക്കെ സാധനങ്ങൾ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ എന്തൊക്കെ കാര്യങ്ങളാണ് അദ്ദേഹം പ്രിപ്പയർഡ് ആയിട്ട് വരേണ്ടത് എന്ന് പറയാം?
ഇനീഷ്യൽ അവരുടെ ഫീസിബിലിറ്റി സ്റ്റഡി മുതൽ, അതായത് 2-3 കാര്യങ്ങൾ ഇതിൽ വളരെ വളരെ ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻ്റ് ആണ്. ഒന്ന് അവരുടെ ഏരിയാസ്, അതായത് ഞാൻ ഇപ്പോൾ നേരത്തെ പറഞ്ഞതുപോലെ എന്ത് ടൈപ്പ് ബിസിനസ്സാണ് അവർ തുടങ്ങേണ്ടത് എന്നുള്ളത് അവർക്കൊരു വ്യക്തമായിട്ടുള്ളൊരു ധാരണ വേണം. ഇവിടെ വന്ന് എന്തെങ്കിലും ഒരു ബിസിനസ് തുടങ്ങുക എന്നുള്ളതാണ് ഞാൻ ഫസ്റ്റായിട്ട് കേൾക്കും. ഇപ്പോൾ ഏതൊരാളോട് ഞാൻ സംസാരിക്കുന്ന സമയത്ത് എന്തെങ്കിലും ഒരു ബിസിനസ് സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്യുക, പക്ഷേ അവർക്ക് വ്യക്തമായിട്ടുള്ള ധാരണ വേണം എന്ത് ബിസിനസ്സാണ് അവർ തുടങ്ങുന്നത്. അവരെന്തിലാണോ മാസ്റ്റർ അതായിരിക്കണം അവർ തുടങ്ങേണ്ടത് ഫസ്റ്റ് ഓഫ് ഓൾ. രണ്ടാമത്തേതെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ അവരുടെ ഏരിയ, ഇപ്പോൾ സപ്പോസ് റെസ്റ്റോറൻറ്റ് ഏരിയക്ക് ദുബായിൽ ഒരു ഏരിയ ഉണ്ട്. അപ്പോൾ അവർ തുടങ്ങിയിട്ട് ഇപ്പോൾ ഷാർജയിൽ ഒരു ഏരിയ തുടങ്ങേണ്ട ബിസിനസ്, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ദുബായിൽ നിങ്ങൾ വേറൊരു ഏരിയ തുടങ്ങി കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ അതിന് യാതൊരു റെലവൻ്റ് ഉണ്ടാവില്ല. അത് പെട്ടെന്ന് എന്തായാലും ഡെഫിനറ്റായിട്ട് അവർ ക്ലോസ് ഡൗൺ ചെയ്യേണ്ടി വരും. പിന്നെ അവർ ചൂസ് ചെയ്യേണ്ട 2-3 അതായത് അവർ എക്വയർ ചെയ്യേണ്ട കുറച്ച് ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻസ്, അതായത് ഇൻഫർമേഷൻസ് ഉണ്ട്. അതാത് മിനിസ്ട്രിയിൽ നിന്നും പോയിട്ട് അവർ അതിൻ്റെ റിക്വയർമെൻറ്റ് ചെയ്യുക, മീൻസ് അതിൻ്റെ ഡീറ്റെയിൽസും കാര്യങ്ങളും എടുക്കുക. പിന്നെ ഇവിടെ 4-മത്തെ കാര്യം എന്താണെന്ന് വെച്ചിട്ടുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ഇതിൻ്റെ ഗവൺമെൻറ് പലതരത്തിലുള്ള ഓഫേഴ്സും ഈ പുതിയ ബിസിനസ്സുകാർക്ക് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ എക്സിസ്റ്റിംഗ് ബിസിനസ്സുകാർക്ക് കൊടുത്തുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. അതിൻ്റെ പറ്റിയുള്ള കറക്റ്റ് ഇൻഫർമേഷൻസ് അവർ എക്വയർ ചെയ്യുക. അതായത് ഇപ്പോൾ സപ്പോസ് നിങ്ങൾക്കറിയാം, ഇപ്പോൾ ലേബർ വിസയിൽ ഒരു 3,000 ദിറംസിൻ്റെ ഇപ്പോൾ ഡെപ്പോസിറ്റ് ഇപ്പോൾ അവർ റീസെൻ്റായിട്ട് ഒഴിവാക്കി. അതേമാതിരി ദുബായ് DED എക്കണോമിക് ഡിപ്പാർട്ട്മെൻറ്റിൻ്റെ ഇയർലി ഉള്ള ഒരു റിന്യൂവൽ ചാർജസ് ഉണ്ട്. അത് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഇപ്പോൾ തവണകളായിട്ട് അടക്കാൻ പറ്റും. അങ്ങനത്തെ ഒരുപാട് കാര്യങ്ങൾ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് എന്ത് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റും, അതിൻ്റെ ഇൻഫർമേഷൻസ് ഒക്കെ കറക്റ്റ് അവർ എടുത്തു കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് അതിലൂടെ ബിസിനസ് റൺ ചെയ്യുകയാണെങ്കിൽ ഡെഫിനറ്റായിട്ട് ഒരു സക്സസ് റേഷ്യോയിലൊക്കെ എത്താൻ പറ്റും എന്നുള്ളതാണ്.
Right. Mr. Nabeel, if I can ask you, finance holds a very important role, especially in sustaining a business over a longer period of time. How do you arrange finances, or how do you look at options of arranging finances for a company if you want to start up a business in UAE?
See, regarding the finances, if a person wants to approach a bank to get the finances, the basic thing is that his financial history should be very clear. As far as financial history is concerned, it is very easy nowadays to get this information. For example, there is some reports, it is available, whoever wants to get it, AEC reports, AECB report, Al-Ittihad Credit Bureau report, that gives a person's rating or company's rating about between 300 to 900. This rating will say what is this person's financial obligations, histories, his dues, any checks returned, even if there is an dues in your telephone bills, that also will show in this report. So when you approach a financial institution to any support, you make sure that our financial history is very clean, we have enough good rating in this report. This is the basic things we have to make sure. Second thing, always try to disclose our financial cash flows, everything to the financial institution, because financial institutions want to help us. At the same time, they will analyze our the repayment capacity based on our cash flows. If we disclose everything, it will be easy for them to analyze and support us to give the finance that will suit to us.
Okay. Advocate Shaheen, how is it different, especially when you operate in a multinational environment like UAE? What is the implication of the corporate and the commercial laws in UAE? Because you were always talking about holistic approaches when it comes to law.
Yes.
How is it different? Can you explain a bit about corporate and commercial laws?
See, corporate and commercial laws are not different from the general laws of a country. It's all about commercial transactional law, law number 18 of 1993 in UAE, and the company law, which is recently amended, the law number 2 of 2015. Now, UAE has come up with a new law, the Foreign Direct Investment Law, which is law number 19 of 2018. See, but if you want to set up a company, like Jamal Saab explained now, you have to be having a holistic approach. It should be a comprehensive approach. You cannot just establish a company by knowing what does the corporate law say about it. You need to know the labor law, you need to know the immigration law, you need to know the environment law, the civil transaction law, and this is where a full service law firm can really be helpful. Unlike going directly to a specialist who may give you a solution for one particular problem which may trigger few others. The treatment should be holistic, just like a doctor. You need a general practitioner for that. So when you set up a company, that's the only time you can do it properly. Earlier the better. The more you grow, the trouble between the partners may also grow. The problems you may have with the sponsor may also grow. Then you will be very shy to go and tell the sponsor, I want one more agreement. I want to amend the memorandum of association like this. It's better that we have a shareholders agreement. The power of attorney is not sufficient. I need more. How do I tell him now? We have been like brothers for so many years. Won't the sponsor think that all of a sudden I have started doubting him, I have stopped trusting him? All these problems could loom large. So, but in the initial days, when you are setting up a company, if you have taken proper legal advice, if you have got your documentation right, your foundation is very strong, and it really suits your vision. You want to build a 40-story building or a 100-story building, or you're happy with a 2-story. This is what law, proper application of law, and a corporate commercial consultation, legal consultation can help you in this one. See, as I told you in response to the first question that came to me, law is a jurisdictional discipline. So when you come to a new country, especially in a multinational environment, everybody is presumed to know the law. The legal maxim goes to say, ignorantia juris non excusat. Ignorance of law is not an excuse. I cannot just go kill somebody and say, oh sorry, I didn't know that murder is a crime here. It's presumed that you know the law, not just one law, all the laws. And the fact of the matter is, even we lawyers, we don't know the law. See, we know only where to find the law. Expecting the common man to know the law is a bit of too much, but the law has no other alternative. And as you know, law is blind. It doesn't look at who is in front of me. It applies law in the same manner to everybody in the society, and that's the only way to ensure rule of law. So there's no point finding fault with that. So who requires legal consultation? If that is the question, my answer is everyone requires legal consultation.
Right.
Then why everyone is not taking legal consultation? Because sometimes it's unaffordable. That could be the answer. But everyone needs it, and is strongly recommended. Be always on the right side of law. Have somebody, have access to somebody from where you can also find the law if you don't know the law. I hope that answers.
Mr. Jamad, if I can take from the same point that Advocate Shaheen was talking about, when it comes to certain laws within the country, there are approved formats for starting up a business in UAE. Yeah. Can you briefly take us through how we could be setting up a standard business in UAE?
Yeah, I can explain you. See, for the setting of a company, initial step, you need to take the name approval first.
Okay.
So you should know what has to be done. I mean, what kind of a company you need to open. And after that, there is a procedure called initial approval. Second step is that. So in that, we will clearly mention what is the activity of, what kind of activity you are doing, and who's the sponsor, and who are the partners. So all this we need to mention, and we need to create initial approval. So this is we are taking from DED, Department of Development, Authority.
Economic development.
So and after that we will we will create a MOA, which is Sir said, MOA. In that we will clearly mention who's the sponsor and what are the percentage he's having, and what are the percentage the partners having, and what are the rules of UAE, what are the activities they want to do. All that we will do it, and we will sign the quote. Right. And after that, we will acquire all the details from the sponsor and the passport copies and all the approval from the ministry. So if you want to start a company, suppose it's a hotel or a restaurant, you need to take the approval from the civil defense and the municipality. So each and every company have different approvals required. So once we take the approval, so all the approvals details we will submit the document in the DED, and we'll get the license. This is the license formality. And after you get the license, you need to have the proper final approval from the related ministries. So all these activities we do it since 8 years now. So this is the
Right. Popularly, Mr. Nabeel, if you look at the banking sector in UAE, Islamic banks do have a major role, especially comparing with other countries. Can you, in brief, tell us how the difference between Islamic banking and the conventional banking can affect businesses in UAE?
See, Islamic banking, as I specialize in Islamic banking domain, Islamic banking is, when the common man, they see the Islamic banking, they think both are the same. The name is Islamic, other is just banking. But the thing is that Islamic banking and conventional banking, there are several differences about the products, their documentation are offered. The main thing in the Islamic banking is that the first thing is that the interest is not there, interest is prohibited. Apart from that, the banks are offering the finances to the sectors that is in line with the guidelines of Islamic Sharia. For example, it is not allowed for the Islamic financial institution to finance or take the deposits from the institutions or from the companies. They are involved in the prohibitory activities.
Okay.
So this is so. Because of that, sometimes some countries Islamic banking is known as ethical finance as well. So because this finance is going to the ethical way. To ensure this one, Islamic banks has a body that is called Sharia Control Board. All Islamic banks, it is mandatory to have the Sharia Control Board. This control board will review and approve all the products and the documentation whenever this is going to market. So Islamic banks are differentiated, but this is not maybe visible in front of us because we are paying or taking or the benefit of financially we are taking same type of giving and taking. At the same time, the products and documents are completely, contractual agreements are completely different.
One of the reasons,
Can I add something to that?
Yes, Advocate, yeah.
Nabeel sir, thank you very much. It was a wonderful answer you gave. Since it's Islamic banking, the question, I think we'll have to look at it from an Islamic perspective too. What is the difference between Islamic banking and conventional banking is the question. See, it's a difference between halal and haram. Because interest is something which is strongly forbidden, prohibited in Islam. See, it may apparently look the same. Okay, you are taking profit, you're calling it profit, but it's almost the same rate of the interest. You're even connecting it to e-board. Okay, these kind of allegations we often listen to. But it's all your intention, the niyyah, what makes the difference. Innamal a'malu binniyat. Okay? Like Prophet ﷺ has said, having a marriage, maintaining a family is half of your faith. Okay? This is only achieved when you have the good intention, you go through the nikah, have the marriage and run a family. You can be living together also, and you will also have kids. You will pretty much be doing the same thing there and here. And sometimes it may be more cordial, the relationship in a living together situation. So it may apparently look the same from outside. But if you look at it from an Islamic perspective, one is half of your faith, such a noble, sacred thing. The other one is absolute sin, which is zina.
Right.
Okay, see the difference now. It all is based on your intention.
Right.
You are doing it based on an agreement, and the agreement is halal. The other one is an agreement for interest, which is haram.
One more question, Nabeel, in between. Some of these names that Islamic banks talk about, like Mudaraba, Murabaha, these are names which are not very common to people. Can you also shed some light on what are these kind of products and how it can impact business?
See, in the conventional banking, only there is two products. Two products means lending, borrowing and lending. Only these products are available, whether it is deposit, whether it is financing, only this product. There is no other products. But in Islamic banking, the contracts are completely different. Each of these products, for example, the name you told here, Mudaraba, then Murabaha, then Ijara, Musharaka, there are several products. Each of these products are completely different. The contractual relations as well is different. For example, if I go to Murabaha, that means there are three parties. Bank is in that one. Bank is buying from someone, and bank sell to the other party with a profit. This is the Murabaha. If we come to the Ijara, bank is buying and leasing. So Islamic banks, in the case of real estate, mainly following this Ijara product, where bank is buying the property and leasing to the customers for a long term. Bank is collecting the rent from the customer. What we are collecting is, from Islamic documentation point of view, it is a rent. In the case of Murabaha, bank is collecting, bank bought something and sold to the customer. Bank is taking installment as a sale price in installments.
Okay.
Then some products are Musharaka. Musharaka is the partnership. The partnership in the building itself, the two parties will be on a share in the both properties, one property, and bank share will lease to the customer. This is the one method. And some methods are share in the deposit side. It's called Mudaraba. That bank customer is depositing the money. Bank is investing that money, managing that money. So bank is as an entrepreneur, doing the managing this fund. So this is the Mudaraba. So all of these are based on the contracts.
Right.
So each party's relationship is that the deposit investor, or maybe bank is sometimes buyer, bank is sometimes seller, bank is sometimes lessee, sometimes lessor. These different roles banks are playing in this Islamic finance.
One last question before we go into the audience, and this question is to Mr. Jamad. There are a lot of offers, a lot of free zones around. These are opportunities which are generally told to be an easy entry without much of an entry barrier into starting businesses in UAE. Can you also give us some idea about what are the options available here?
See, free zone, it's a covered area, which is, there are a lot of restrictions for the people. And, mainland is, it's an open area of, so what are the different, I can explain you what are the difference between the free zone and, the mainland. So mainland, you're having a sponsor, local sponsor, which is, he can help you to run your business, and, you can improve your business. And free zone, there is no sponsor, and you will be the 100% owner of the free zone. I mean, your company. And there are advantage of free zone. There are a lot of disadvantages of free zone. So if anybody wants more detail about this thing, I can explain you some other.
Well, I think we'll open the floor for questions now from the audience. If anybody would like to have them raise their hands.
Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Munawar, a digital marketer coming from Kerala. Thank you so much Gulf Madhyamam for such a quality discussion happening. And my question is, I have two questions. One question is, consider a situation like someone is doing business here and we have a local partner. So God forbid nothing happens. If something happens to that local partner, how will be that the after effects.
What is the impact of?
What is the impact? Like, is it the same like the nomination process, everything happening over in India, or is there anything else? Like, if there is an absence of the local partner who helped us,
Right.
and something happens, what will be the after effects? That is my question number one.
Yeah.
And question number two is, I have been.
Is it related to inheritance, you asked the question? Because it's not audible.
Maybe inheritance, or maybe like after his passing of his, survival of the company, or like if there is an absence, if maybe his death.
The absence
Yeah.
of the local partner in case, because it's a sharing relationship on business. So when the local partner is no more
Okay.
part of the business,
Okay.
so what is the impact on the business?
Got
And
the
then
question.
what's
Thank
your
you.
question two?
Thank you.
Yeah,
A bit
question-
echo in your.
Yeah. So question number two is, I have been seeing a lot of ventures going bankrupt and shutting down. Like many of my friends and fellow entrepreneurs are saying this, and I have been seeing a lot. So what do you have to motivate us that there is something positive happening, or is this a scene just for the present scenario, or because I have seen a lot of, mainly in food joints, food and beverage sector, and supermarkets, many of the brands are going shut down or either bankrupt. So what is there positive for us coming from Kerala?
Sure. The first question, I think, Advocate Shaheen, if you can
will
look at.
answer.
Yeah.
The question, as I understand, is that you have a limited liability company, and it's mandatory under the laws of UAE that 51% national ownership should be maintained. So a UAE national or a company wholly owned by UAE nationals has to be holding 51% shares in any limited liability company established in the mainland. There are other situations where the establishment or the sole proprietorship will be 100% owned by the UAE national. I'm not getting into that. The only situation where a foreigner is in partnership with a UAE national is a limited liability company. See, the company law very clearly says the company doesn't stop with the death of a shareholder. It continues between the surviving shareholder and the legal heirs of the deceased partner. So here the question is related to the partner who is deceased is the UAE national. The UAE national could be the real investing partner, which is expected under the law, or sometimes it could be a name lender, which is in practice more than what is expected by the law. Okay? So once the UAE national passes away, his legal heirs will replace him. And who determines the legal heirs? UAE nationals are all Muslims, so it's Islamic Sharia. Sharia is the source of Islamic law. It's Quran, Hadith, Ijma. Ijma means collective consensus of scholars, and the Qiyas. Based on that, the laws of inheritance are well settled, and a personal law court will issue a judgment of inheritance, determining the legal heirs of the deceased. Until then, the trade license is renewed as legal heirs of so and so, that is the deceased partner. Okay? And it is mandatory under the company law within 30 days. The legal heirs have to select one among them to represent the legal heirs with other shareholders and the company. If not, the company has the right to sell the shares and give the proceeds to the legal heirs, which is again easily said, very difficult to implement. You have to go through a legal battle to get it done.
Sure.
So it's always a good idea to avoid an individual being your 51% national partner. Take it to a free zone, for example, Abu Dhabi Global Market or Dubai International Financial Center, which will register a company 100% owned by the UAE national. And that company is still considered as a company wholly owned by UAE nationals in the mainland. They can own 51% shares in the mainland company, but it's expensive. DIFC is 3 times more expensive than ADGM. In ADGM, the yearly maintenance cost for maintaining a company like this is 12,000 dirhams. This is an additional cost on top of the sponsorship. So unless your investment and the returns justify such additional cost, it becomes difficult. But you cannot do any document in advance saying that once this UAE national passes away, automatically the shares go to somebody else. This is not possible, because writing a will is not permissible in Islam, and there is a restriction called bequeathable 1/3 rule. I'm a Muslim, I can only write a will for 1/3 of my assets. And that 1/3 of my assets, if I am writing it to one of my legal heirs, after my death, all the other legal heirs should ratify it, otherwise my will become invalid. Still, there is a possibility if this UAE national has a lot of assets and this 51% shares does not represent more than 1/3 of his properties assets, he can write a will in favor of another UAE nationals and keep it. And we can try implementing it. It's not necessary that a court will ipso facto implement such a will and the other legal heirs may object. You may still enter into a legal battle with other legal heirs.
The other question I think was about the optimism in the market as to with the current conditions, there are people who have started businesses but might be closing down quickly. From a financial perspective, Nabeel, can you tell us like how is the industry now looking at the situation? Is it optimistic or is it not so a right time to set up businesses here?
See, all ups and downs always there in the market. If you look at the history, in the economic history, all times we see there are downs, there are ups. There is no down always.
Okay.
So if we look at history will repeat in future also. So in that sense, if there is a down, there will be up. That is the always we look forward.
So that answers the question. So
I have a point.
Yes, please.
Rather than setting up a big setup, instead you can start a minimum, in a minimum budget. See, normally people used to start with a very high budget and very high capital, and really, the second year it is really difficult to run the company. So rather than setting up a big setup, you can go with a small, instead of LLC company, you can start a, agent. There is a license called agent license, Wakil Khidmat. The comparatively LLC, license price is, a little bit less. And
that's the safest option.
Yeah,
also.
safest option also.
But
and
not all activities are permitted in that, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's a professional license. So normally people used to start technical services, which it is available, and the restaurant,
consultancy services.
Exactly, these kind of things we can start with the agent license. And apart from that, taking a big office, you can go for, now there are variant options available in the market. You can go for a sharing office, which is 200 square feet. You will get it in 12,000 to 15,000 per annum. And there is a virtual office option. So these all, you can cut down your cost of, setting up a company, and you can run, as long as you want. This is what, my perception.
Well, I think the panel is again available for questions, but we will have to cut short the panel now because of time restrictions. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the panel. Thank you very much for joining, and see you soon. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Dugate.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.